Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm joining you all not from my bedroom and not from my school, but from a hotel room. I'm actually traveling this weekend, so the next few videos will be coming from here because although I'm traveling, I'm also studying. So I hope you guys enjoy the new change of setting. Anyway, also just to appreciate something before we continue, I'm wearing my Celtics sweatshirt. You can see on here, see that the thing's all like reversed. Here has our finals appearance on it that we went to the finals last year, and the playoffs for the NBA are coming up soon. So I don't know if you guys are basketball fans. There's that. We're gonna win. I'm already saying it now. We're winning the NBA finals. No contest whatsoever. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Let's get right into today's chapter. Today we're doing chapter 2.4 in business management, which is motivation. Now this chapter is pretty simple, but it also is something that's very just list-like. There's a lot of things to just memorize. But as long as you have a basic understanding and you know the names, you'll be able to apply them when you get to an exam. All right. So the first part of the chapter is they just define what is motivation. Motivation, this is pretty simple. It is the desire or passion to do something. And it comes in two categories. And as these categories tend to come in business, internal, external. In this case, intrinsic and extrinsic. But they follow similar principles. Intrinsic is saying it's motivation that comes from you as an individual. You have a passion to do something. You just naturally want to do it. And you don't have to be motivated because you just want that thing. Extrinsic is saying motivation that's coming from the outside. That would be payment, promotion, recognition, things like that. Other motivators that are coming in and impacting you. So you'll do something not because you want to do it, but because you're going to receive these other benefits from outside. Then when we talk about motivation, this chapter applies them to each of the major groups that you have in a business, which are the employers and the employees. Now, employers are motivated by the following objectives: to be motivated, to minimize the cost of the business, to gain prestige for themselves and for the business, better recruitment and reduce turnover of workers, and control of the business. On the other hand, employees are motivated by purchasing power, recognition, and compensation. That's to say a good salary and benefits such as medical insurance. So again, these are all pretty straightforward. These are just saying these groups have different things that motivate them. The employees want to have good control. They want the business to be in a good state. Employees want things for themselves. They want money and they want recognition. And so there's a few theories that discuss how motivation works. And each of them provides a bit of a different look at what the motivation of workers is. However, they also do overlap in a lot of ways. The first theory is Taylor's theory. And Taylor's theory is this: that workers are motivated by one simple thing, and that is cash. That is money. They're motivated by being payment. And that connecting payments to productivity will increase productivity. Because cash is the only thing that is truly motivating workers. It also advocates for the standardization of work practices, that workers be chosen for their job based on ability, and that they be paid on a standard level of output. You know, if you produce this number of units, we're going to give you this starting wage. And then if you produce more, it'll be connected. So, you know, let's say it's $8 an hour to start, but then if you produce 10 over the quota, well, then you get an extra dollar. If you 20 more, and it just keeps going up. That's the idea, that cash is the motivator for workers. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is quite a bit more elaborate because it's saying that there's levels of needs that workers have. The way they do it, I have it drawn in my notes, is this pyramid here. Ooh, I'm like going over the side. But yeah, this pyramid here that has the different needs of workers on it. Because it's a graphic. And the thing is, it doesn't just apply to business, because Maslow was not a businessman. He was a psychologist. And actually, I first learned about this not in business management, but in health class, because this can be applied to just the self more than a business. However, in business, this has certain applications that are useful to understand. So what is Maslow's hierarchy? Well, Maslow's hierarchy is saying there are 5 levels of things that humans need. And to be able to move up each level on this, it's a pyramid, as I showed. Each one gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you move towards the top. And to move up from one level, to get to a certain level, you have to have everything below it. All right, so it starts from the bottom. The basic is physical physical, all your needs and your basic needs. So that's going to be food, water, and shelter. Next is going to be security and safety. That's the second level in the pyramid. That's security and physical safety. That no one's going to rob you, no one's going to hurt you, no one's going to assault you, things like that. The third one is a social love and belonging. This is a sense of belonging to a group. This is a sense of connection with others, that you're really supported as an individual by a good social circle. And again, remember, you can't get to this point if you don't have the other two things. You have to get this requirement, to get to this level of you're focused on my social, you have to have food and you have to have shelter and protection. If you don't have those things, doesn't matter. And the same goes, if you don't have food, you can't even worry about safety because you don't even have the most basic. Now, once you get above the social, then you go to esteem and ego. This is talking about things like prestige and a sense of accomplishment. Basically, do you feel respected? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel seen for the things that you do and for who you are? And again, everything below on the pyramid has to be accomplished before you can get to this point. The final one is self-actualization. This is the most complicated one. This is saying that basically you're achieving your life's purpose, that you're doing work that is truly meaningful to you, and you're fulfilling your full potential. It is the highest point. It is, if any human gets to their ideal point, it's they fulfill that. They get to self-actualization, which is they're doing what they really love. They're fulfilling their full potential. But again, you got to get everything else. Now, generally, I remember when I first discussed this in my health class, we kind of identified where was each person on this pyramid. And the consensus is most people end up between the social and the esteem categories. So that's 3 and 4 of like they have their circle and now they're trying to get their prestige and recognition, or they don't even have their full circle. They don't really have a full support group for them and they're still trying to form that. But, most people in modern society have food, they have security, but having a group is not an assured thing. Having recognition, definitely not. And getting self-actualization is really a gift for most people to be able to get to something that truly is something you're passionate about, that you're doing. Sorry, need some water to hydrate. H2O is important. All right, now this is not just business class, this is biology class. H2O, important. All right. So how does a business satisfy these needs? Because that's where this application is important for business management. All right. Well, so on the physiological, not physiological, on the physical basic, well, actually it is physiological, on the physiological basic level, the physical needs. The way you satisfy that is payment. If you pay somebody, they can get food, water, and shelter. So that's how business can secure that. Next is security and safety. So the way they can do that is with job security, because it is a form of security. They feel safe in the job, and with benefits, because if you assure them medical insurance, things like that, well, then they also have physical safety. If I know if this thing happens to me, the business has my back. Then you have the social love and belonging. A business takes care of this with team working, having a good corporate culture and a good support network, and anti-discrimination. This one's pretty straightforward. You're not going to feel very cared for or accepted at work if you're suffering from racism, from sexism, from homophobia, and all those very fun things. The fourth level, so esteem and ego, the way to satisfy this for a business is first training and development of the workers, delegation of authority to workers, because if you're given the authority by a superior to do something that isn't like necessarily your job, you feel pretty respected for that. Also promotions. Because promotions is the easiest way for a business to say, we recognize this work you've done and we're rewarding you for it. And then finally, self-actualization. And that comes from giving freedom to the employees, letting them have free reign in their work and what they do, because that means they can start reaching that highest point of what's their true passion if they have the freedom to do it instead of being locked into a very specific job description. All right. That brings us to Herzberg's theory. Herzberg's theory is that there are 2 aspects of basically needs or motivations for an employee. The first one is hygiene or maintenance. So this means your physical, your necessary basic needs. This kind of goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of, it's the same kind of, you have these basic needs that you need to get satisfied. Next are the motivators, which are psychological. This is basically desiring achievement and recognition. However, to do this, it must be democratic business. It can't be an autocratic business, because for people to feel truly appreciated, if it's an autocratic business where someone's just imposing on them, and this we've discussed in other chapters, but autocratic means you're just being imposed on. If they have that, it's hard for you to have that sense of recognition and contributing to a group. Also, job enlargement, which we'll discuss in a bit, enrichment and empowerment. He also talks about the difference between movement and motivation. Movement and motivation, they kind of end up the same way, which is the business wants you to do something and you do it. Movement, however, is you do it because you must do it. The motivation is extrinsic. Motivation is that you do it because you want to do it. It's intrinsic. And he also says, Herzberg, that this is more important. It is more important to intrinsically motivate your employees than extrinsically motivate them, because intrinsic is easier to sustain, and it means the employees will work on their own. He also says that there's an individualism in terms of motivation, that each person is motivated by their own things. All right, then we get to Adams' equity theory. Now, Adams' equity theory, what does it say? That workers will compare themselves to other workers. And as a result, employees should receive compensation that is equal to their quality of work. Basically, that it should correspond. They'll be motivated if they think that compensation is correct and proper. Also, that inequality is caused by poor job analysis and evaluation. Basically, to say if companies misread how well a worker works, then they're going to compensate them unfairly, and that's going to create inequality in the business, because then people are going to say, well, he doesn't work as much as me, but he gets paid better than me. Why is that? But Adams' equity theory basically saying you need to pay someone what they're worth. And that way workers will be motivated, because they'll see, if I work this certain amount, I'm going to get paid more. Then we have Pink's theory, which Pink's theory really deals with the importance of intrinsic motivation. And they say that there's 3 points to that. The first is autonomy, that each worker is independence, mastery, that they can get really good at what they're doing, and purpose, that they feel like there's a purpose in the work that they're doing, that it's not just mindless work. I think for this one, I heard a great story of, and it was actually from a pastor a few years back, but basically it was, the lesson of it was different, but the story is applicable here. It was about a man who, there were two guys who came to work, and one guy the job for the same was to pull a lever. And the thing is, their job was to pull a lever in a factory so that it would produce a product that would then be sold. And one guy came in and he knew this. He knew that he came in, he pulled the lever and it made a product. And he felt the true appreciation and purpose of his job, because he would, get paid for doing the work that was providing a product for others. The other person was another individual who just came in and he didn't know what pulling the lever did. He just knew that he pulled the lever and then he got paid for it. And he did not feel the same motivation in his work. He didn't feel a sense of purpose because he didn't know what doing this was for. He just knew that he got paid to do it. So that's kind of it's a way to balance, because then, the story continues. These guys get to the end of their careers. Both of them become too old to be able to keep pulling the lever. And one guy feels very fulfilled because he knew what his career was actually about. And the other man does not, because he was like, well, I just pulled this lever for 40 years of my life. And yeah, I got money out of it, but what did I really do all this for? Anyway, that's a bit of an existentialist way to look at it. But basically, people need purpose in their job. And that's an important part of Pink's theory. So if you ever are asking yourself, what is Pink's theory? Think of the man pulling the lever. That's one way to remember it. All right, and then we can talk about financial and non-financial motivation. And here we get even more theories. All right, so this theory X. Theory X talks about extrinsic and financial motivation. All right, theory X is basically saying that workers are lazy and they have to be supervised. That they don't have intrinsic motivation. The only way is for you to force them to work and to motivate them with benefits from the company. Theory Y is saying that workers are motivated. They are ambitious, they do enjoy their jobs, and they're intrinsically motivated, so they do not require the same supervision. Now, there is a large variety of financial and non-financial motivation, and this is the last part of the chapter, guys. Don't worry about it. But it is this big of a page. All right, so financial motivation. What are these? Wages and overtime. That's the first one. It's pretty simple. You have a certain hourly rate. You get paid $8 an hour. And then if you're working outside of your hours, well, then you're getting paid $12 an hour. Piece rates. That's to say, this is kind of like a commission, you can think, where basically every product you sell, you get paid a certain amount for it. But it's not based on the price of the product. It's just, you sold a shirt, all right, $10. You sold a pair of pants, $10. You sold some shoes, $10. The next thing is salary, which is you're just paid a flat rate every year. You get paid $50,000 a year, and that's it. It can be improved with appraisals. It typically tends to be this, and the disadvantage is that you're not always motivated to work hard because, if I have fantastic production this year or very mediocre production, I'm going to get paid the same amount. So it doesn't really matter. Next, you have a commission. This goes hand in hand with the piece rate, except you sell a shirt and you get paid 10% of the sales. You sell some pants, you get 10% of the sales. So, say the shirt costs $200, well, then you get $20. And the pants cost $500, well, you get $50. Obviously, those would be very expensive shirts and pants, but you know what I'm saying. You get paid percentage-wise. Then you have profit-related pay. This goes back to a previous chapter that we had about different types of, motivators for workers and payment systems. But profit-related pay is basically saying that whatever profit the firm makes, you get a percentage of that. This links the profit to the company or to the employee's salary, which does motivate them more to work harder because it means that they're going to get paid more if the business is more successful. Then we have performance-related pay, or PRP. This comes in a variety of ways. First, a performance bonus. So if you get good reviews and whatnot, you just get a certain bonus. Or if you have certain production, you get a certain bonus. A loyalty bonus, which is if you stay with the business for a certain amount of time, you get paid money. So let's say you sign a contract and they say, if you stay until 2025, we'll give you an extra $50,000 bonus. A pay raise. So if you do well, your pay just starts going up. And gratuity, which is a bonus for completing your contract. Because, of course, you can still leave a company in the middle of your contract if you want. Then you have fringe benefits, which is the last one of these. That's things like medical insurance, company cars, discounts on company products, different bonus schemes and subsidized meals. You can eat in the company cafes, things like that. So there's other things that are not money, but there's still motivations that the company's paying for to motivate you to work. And then we have non-financial motivations. So these are not perks they're giving you, not money they're paying you, but instead other ways that they change within the business to motivate you. The first thing is job enlargement, which is increasing the scope of your work, giving you more things that you have to do. Basically saying, all right, you work really well, but now we're giving you extra jobs. The idea is this motivates you if you're intrinsically motivated. If you like the work and you want more jobs, well, then it gives you more jobs. Job enrichment, which is giving you more complex and fulfilling tasks. So not necessarily increasing the quantity like job enlargement is, but instead increasing the quality. Job rotation, which is to say you're trained in multiple positions. This works in places where you're trained in multiple positions and you're rotated to a different job. That way you get some diversity, you get to mix things up. Because as we know, if you work the same job for 40 years, it gets pretty redundant at the end of it. But with job rotation, you're able to mix around and get some diversity and have a bit of fun, basically. Then we have employee empowerment, which is to delegate tasks from managers to employees to give them some more responsibilities. Finally, the last point here, there's 4 kind of other ways you can do it. You can have recognition and praise, change the working environment to make it better for workers, delegation of work, and worker participation in decisions and more involvement. So, making the business more democratic, basically. And as I said, this is a very list-based chapter, but we've gotten to the end. Thank you all for watching. I hope this is served for you guys. And of course, we're going to continue going. There's 2 more chapters left to finish, or 2 more points to finish this chapter. Both are high level. So if you're not high level, well, then wait until chapter 3 comes out, which that'll be soon. But for those of you who have seen this video and you are still on high level, which you guys can see those next 2 will be coming out soon, 2.5 and 2.6. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed. You can always click down below. I remind you guys, there's a playlist at the top of the description, which has all the videos on business management that I've made. So you can watch all the summaries of all the chapters if you need to get caught up. And with that, thank you for watching and have a fantastic rest of your day.